Why is there a need to save Optimus Prime? What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? My name is Alex Yu, and I want to talk about last night. This is just a web series we're talking about Transformers last night. This is episode number 7. And the first thing I want to say in this episode is I am back. I am back from TFcon, and if you didn't already know, from last Wednesday to Sunday, I was in Mississauga, Ontario for TFcon. That would be Canada's largest fan-run Transformers convention, and it was absolutely awesome. This would be the second time that I've been to TFcon. The first time was in 2015, 2 years ago, when Peter Cullen made an appearance, and that's all I needed to know. Peter Cullen's gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. I'm freaking going. But anyways, for this year, 2017, I want to go. It's been 2 years, I want to go, and I'd like to say thank you to the fine folks over at ages3andup.com and also Mass Toys for helping me make this opportunity happen. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the fans of the Ragin Nation which came up to say hi. You guys are awesome. I got a lot of shoutouts to do, but I'm going to save it till the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. As for now, we got to talk about last night. Now, this episode is all about questions. Not exactly your questions, but my questions. You guys had questions for me, and now I have questions for you. Because even though I saw Transformers last night 5 times, maybe I wasn't completely paying attention to all the details, but I still don't exactly know everything there is to know about this film, and that's why I have questions for you. So the first thing that I'm going to ask is, why was Steelbane carrying the Talisman to begin with? It actually felt kind of random, and I just felt that, so you're trying to tell me that if it weren't for these kids randomly wandering into this restricted area, then Cade Yeager would not have known about the Talisman? It was just totally random. Cade Yeager became the last knight because of the way the events unfolded, and it was rescuing these kids who just happened to be, doing something they shouldn't be doing. And because of that, he ended up saving the day as the last knight. Well, kind of saving Optimus later on, right before the knights almost killed him. But anyways, all that happened because one thing led to another and to another and to another. But it all started because the Talisman was passed from Steelbane to Cade Yeager. So that leads me to ask, why did Steelbane have the Talisman to begin with? Why did Steelbane steal the Talisman from Quintessa? If I were to guess, and maybe this is the correct answer, with the Cybertronian Knights and one of them being Steelbane, them being kind of like Jedis, defending the galaxy and all that stuff, maybe part of their duty was to preserve, I guess the peace on Earth. So because of that, with Quintessa wanting to destroy Unicron, which is Earth, I guess that's why he wanted to hide the Talisman from Quintessa. I guess that's the reason. But everything just felt so random how, because of the kids, it was Cade Yeager who ended up being the last knight. So anyways, why did Steelbane have the Talisman? Let me know in the comments section below. Next question. Why did the knight's armor and that cross symbol on the swords glow when Merlin's staff controlled Dragonstorm? At the beginning of the movie, in the medieval sequence, the armor of the Knights of the Round Table and all that, and also that emblem on the sword, Excalibur, it started to glow as soon as the Merlin started activating his staff to control Dragonstorm. How on earth is any of that connected? I mean, that's just armor. That's just armor made from a blacksmith. So I'm wondering, where's the connection there? That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. In fact, it was also kind of random, in my opinion. If you got your own fan theories, let me know in the comments section below. Next question. Speaking of the Talisman, why did the Talisman finally activate and form a sword to defend Optimus Prime? I'm talking about when Optimus Prime was being totally pummeled to the ground by the Knights, and then suddenly that, the thing that wrapped around Mark Wahlberg's bicep, Cade Yeager's bicep, it formed itself into a sword, into Excalibur. Why did it do that? Why did it need to save Optimus Prime? What is Optimus Prime to the Talisman? You know what I'm saying? Why is there a need to save Optimus Prime? Because the Knights saw Optimus Prime as a traitor. So why didn't they just continue going with that? Why did the Talisman have a mind of its own and feel the need to save Optimus Prime? Is he supposed to be the grand savior? Because he's not. It's Vivian Wembley who has ties with Merlin. You know, he has bloodline ties with Merlin. So why Optimus Prime? Why did the Talisman feel the need to save Optimus Prime? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like I said, you got your fan theories. I really want to know. Finally, okay, why did that alien ship that was, you know, that submerged Cybertronian vessel, why did it rise from the water, and what exactly is it doing to Stonehenge? You know, the way I see it at face value is that that vessel is floating over Stonehenge, which is the center of Unicron, you know, Unicron's horns. It's the very, very center. Maybe that's the weak spot of Unicron. And Cybertron, its ignition chamber is controlling it so that it could shoot a laser or like a beam down to the Earth's core to destroy Unicron. But what is that thing? Why can't it do it without... Why can't Cybertron kill Unicron without that thing? What exactly is that thing? It's just, as far as I know, it's just, you know, a vessel which housed the Cybertronian Knights. It housed Merlin's staff, and it's also the battleground or the arena for the Optimus Prime and Bumblebee standoff or a duel. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, I didn't get the whole, like, they didn't really explain what that thing is supposed to be, other than, I guess, some sort of grand weapon, but there was really no context to any of that. It just started flying, like floating up from the water, and then rising over Stonehenge, and then it's supposed to generate a beam of energy, which is supposed to destroy Unicron. So that's what I want to know. What exactly is that thing? Everything that I'm asking, I'm thinking has a fan theory. I don't think there's any real definitive answer. But, I really would like to know. Let me know in the comment section below. Now, I have a couple of other questions that I have, but you can consider this nitpicking. Because these things are just tiny little things, okay? The first one is, how did the Autobots know to fly to Stonehenge? Because, it says that when Jimmy came to Cade Yeager, he said, "Hey, I brought the reinforcements," and then Cade Yeager says, "You got my message to bring the Autobots." Like, when did that ever happen? Maybe I missed something, but when did that message ever get through? I don't remember any of that. Another thing is, Jimmy brought the reinforcements, but where are the Dinobots? Why didn't he bring the Dinobots? I really don't know, but if I had to guess, it's because the Autobots are doing fine without the Dinobots. The rest of the Autobots plus the Knights, they're way overpowered. Once you add Dinobots in, there is no final battle. They would completely own everything. Next question is, so is Unicron in Earth or Unicron is Earth? Now, I think they didn't define this at all. I'm just curious, is Unicron actually underground, like he's buried in there, or Earth has always been Unicron, and this is the full history of Earth for millions and billions of years ago? Like, Earth is actually alive, and it's in the form of a planet-sized robot. So I prefer that Unicron is actually buried underground as opposed to Earth transforming into a robot. I just think that's a little bit much. Next question, following up. So if Unicron is Earth, does that make Cybertron the bad guy? Because it's trying to destroy Earth, and by destroying Earth, which brings life back to Cybertron, that would kind of mean that Earth or Unicron is the bad guy. Or rather, Unicron is a good guy, because Unicron is Earth, so that would make him a good guy. So you don't want Earth to be destroyed, therefore you don't want Unicron to be destroyed. So that would make Earth or Unicron a good guy, wouldn't you say? Following up on that, did Optimus Prime just take the Autobots to Cybertron at the end of the movie? Because it looks like he did, but Cybertron is a bare and like ruined wasteland. Like, there's nothing there. It's completely destroyed. There's no life on the planet. How on earth do they expect to bring life back to Cybertron? The Autobots returned back to Cybertron on lockdown ship, so I don't know what they're gonna do there. There's no life there, so I don't know. Maybe with Merlin's staff they can bring life back to it. But Merlin's staff really all it really does is do two things: control Dragonstorm, which it only did at the beginning of the movie, and the other thing is that it activates the Doomsday weapon, at the end of the movie. All right, okay. So now talking about Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime was in sleep mode and completely lifeless through space. And then suddenly he turns into a ball of fire and he wakes up saying, "I'll kill you." And, it's just kind of funny that, he's lifeless. Then he turns into a great ball of fire, crash lands, and wakes up going, "I'll kill you." You know what I'm saying? That's kind of hilarious. Actually, that wasn't even a question. But here's a funny question, rather. Optimus Prime flew to Cybertron first before any of the Autobots or the Knights did. So why was he late to the battle? The question doesn't even need an answer, because it's something that has always happened in every single Transformers film, and that is, he is always fashionably late. He's always late to every battle. Main reason why is because Optimus Prime, as we already know, is completely overpowered. He just owns as soon as he comes back for the battle. Remember when he arrived in the first downtown battle in the first film, and then the second battle he comes back as Jetfire Prime, and he just owned Megatron in the Fallen. And then in the third film he comes back as Jetwing Prime, and he completely owned the Driller, Shockwave, and Sentinel Prime, and Megatron. And then in Age of Extinction he comes back with Dinobots, and then that was the only other time where I thought that, okay, he's not so overpowered. He needed the help of the Dinobots, but now he's late for battle again. And then, where did he go the whole time? He was there first, and then he arrives late. So that's a little bit odd to me. But anyways, those are my questions. And but the second batch of questions was all kind of nitpicky things. The first batch are the questions that I really need answers to. Anyways. Speaking of which, I just want to apologize for giving a wrong answer to a question that you guys sent me, and that was, where was Drift during the time of the final battle? And I said that it was a lack of attention to detail, and actually it was my lack of attention to detail. Even after watching it 5 times, I didn't actually realize that the whole time Drift was actually piloting Lockdown ship. I didn't even realize that, so I apologize for that. That's my mistake, and it's something that I should have noticed, but I didn't, mainly because, to be completely honest, I wasn't enjoying the final battle that much, really. So it didn't really matter to me that much of where he was. It just felt like typical Michael Bay, where you have, characters missing, but actually he was piloting the ship the whole time, which makes sense. But at the same time, I'm thinking, how much piloting does he really need to do? Can't the thing just go on autopilot, as it did in Age of Extinction when Lockdown wasn't even piloting it? But anyways, that's where Drift really was. He didn't just disappear, he was piloting the ship. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this episode. Let me know in the comments section below your answers to any of my questions. Now I would like to do shoutouts, and I would like to just give a little bit of a recap on the events of TFcon. First of all, I want to say that TFcon was absolutely awesome. What a great and positive experience. It was so much fun, and I want to say thank you to a bunch of people that I had a great experience with, or rather great parties that I had an experience with. It wouldn't have been the same without you guys, and that is the crew at Ages 3 and Up, Madhouse Toys, Toy Dojo, Pake for Life Reviews, Render Forum, Mastermind Creations, Evangelist Central, and also Mass Toys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for making being a part of or having me being a part of a team. It was absolutely a wonderful experience. Also, it would not be the same without the fans. I met so many fans of the Ragin Nation, and I would like to say thank you guys for you guys to coming up to me, taking the time to talk with me, chat with me, say hi. We were giving out Ragin Nation slap bracelets, and it was an honor to slap you guys with a slap bracelet. And it was just a great time, and it was finally so awesome to put a name to all those faces, because I've interacted with a lot of you guys, but I really didn't know who you are in person. So I got to meet a lot of you guys in person, and it was such a positive experience. And to see you guys just be so excited for meeting me in person, that really makes me excited. So thank you very, very much for that experience. it really means a lot when people can come up to you and tell you that, you know what, your videos really it really made a difference in my life. It really excited me, kept me entertained, and it just really you get a lot of enjoyment out of that. That means that I've been doing my job. So thank you so much for that. I'm gonna try to give shout outs to everybody that I met, and if I didn't mention your name, I apologize, but there was just so much going on. It was actually positively overwhelming. But anyways, I want to give a big shout out in no particular order to Ken, who is also known as Crimson the Demon Slayer. He has this really awesome vehicle that is his Transformers car. Check it out. It's modified. It's fully modified in Transformers with a Transformers theme. The license plate is Cybertron, and then it's got this crazy sound system. Then he blasts the Transformers movie, and whenever he blasts the Transformers movie, all the kids come down to watch Transformers. So awesome! Thank you so much for showing that to me. I want to give a big shout out to Daniel, Ramon, Paul, Matthew, Kevin, Cody, Raiden, Jonah, Milvin, Dante, Daniel, who is also a Ragin Nation VIP member, Andy, Diego, and also Alan, who sent me a bunch of photos during the production of Age of Extinction, Brian, Jake, Wood, Redmond, George, John, Juen, Justin, Christopher, Wisely, Carlos, John from Team Jackassery, Dimitri from Belgium, M from Transformers and Beer, Alfie in Virginia, Mateo, Ashen, Daryl from Transmission, Haroon, Damon, Drake, Jeremy, Jacob, Darren, John at IACON Dispatch, follow him, Kevin, who is known as Extreme987 on YouTube, Miles, Jonathan and Edwin, Chioki, Brian, Damon and Logan, Charles and Anish. Thank you so much, everybody, for meeting me, taking the time to come up to me and chat with me at TFcon. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate every single one of you guys, and I appreciate everybody else there at the Ragin Nation who wasn't there to make it at TFcon. You guys kept this channel alive by supporting me. You've been loyal followers, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Honestly speaking, I can't wait for the next TFcon and the next TFcon after that, because I would love to continue meeting you guys and having more interactions, because when I see you guys all excited and happy, it makes me happy. So let's keep that positivity going, and I look forward to the next meeting. Anyways, speaking of interacting, I'd like you guys to continue interacting with me. Send me a tweet using the hashtag #AboutLastNight. We're going to do another question and answer episode. Send me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them. So thank you so much for that. Once again, tweet me questions at using the hashtag at hashtag #AboutLastNight, and make sure you follow me as well on Twitter. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, you want to see more. Excuse me, I'm so thirsty. I can't even do this outro. As always, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more, hit that like button, subscribe to YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. The idyllic life of these two is interrupted by the evil Decepticons. And how are they going to be able to deal with the problem without Optimus and without everybody else?